Well, color me surprised. Nagumo versus Oki is actually happening. What's up, guys? I got with a pencil here. Fun fact, I do mean to have it on me and keep it on me at all times. Another fun fact, here we are to do a breakdown slash live action review of chapter 246 of Sakamoto, which is known as Shishiba Said. And hey, I did call last chapter that we weren't actually going to continue the Sakamoto versus Suzuki fight. Like, we did just nerf Suzuki into the ground by getting rid of the Takamura personality. But I was like, there's no way we're actually gonna leave it to the final battle. It looks like I was right. So all the battles are still left open. Now that I think about it, what are the battles that are left open, though? I think it's legit this. It is this. It is now, I presume, probably a 2v1 against Gozu with Shishiba and Ostaragi. Funnily enough, with this chapter being called Shishiba Said. I guess Shin versus, what's his name is still, Tanabata? I guess that's still happening? I guess, that's still such a... You want to talk about the most random matchups of random matchups. That one was right there, right up to Osaragi versus Torres. In terms of like, okay, I guess we'll rock with it. But Shin versus Tanabata should still be happening. And then, what? It's boiled in, what's his name? Wu-Tang versus some randoms? I think that's it. Because Torres was diffed entirely and viciously. I don't think there are any other characters left. I know people are... I've seen a lot of, like, for some reason, I'm looking around the community, I've seen a lot of Tenkyu cope recently, and people are expecting Tenkyu to show... Like, I'm sorry. Suzuki-sensei forgot about that character. I don't think he remembers that character. I'll be proven wrong next chapter. I'll admit, I really, truly, honestly, from the bottom of my list, I mean, this is the first page. Maybe it won't be continued, but I really thought we were not going to get any more Nagumo versus Oki. I thought the fight was going to be entirely off screen. But let's not waste more time. Let's hop right into chapter 246 of Sakamotodays, known as Shishiba Said. Alright, Oki and Nagumo. I do like the slight difference, right? They are both clearly battle damaged. They're both clearly going through it at least somewhat thanks to this fight. But while Oki's like, gosh darn it, Nagumo's like, eh. Obviously not exactly, but the slight frown and the slight smile here, I like it. It shows the difference between... I'd honestly say both of our groups narratively and like personality wise as well, right? Because like when we think about the New Order and all of its people, none of them are like happy. No one's excited to be there, right? No one's like positive or happy or no, like it's just a group filled with endless negativity on endless negativity. Meanwhile, Nagumo in the side he represents is just nothing but really positivity and connections and bonds and cherishing people around you and protecting the world. Like obviously the good is feeling good and the bad is feeling bad. It still is weird to think about though, despite obviously, I almost said Takazuki, but technically he doesn't exist anymore. Despite Uzuki and Sakamoto really being the true core heads of their respective organizations, it does feel like this truly is a battle of the leaders. I know Nagumo didn't actually really organize much, he just randomly pulled up on Oki for a 1v1, but still, I am genuinely feeling like this battle, I think, well no, let me not say it's more important, right? Because obviously Sakamoto versus Suzuki is the most important fight in the series that's going to happen, presumably soon. But I feel like this battle feels realer than Sakamoto versus Suzuki. I don't know. Something about Sakamoto versus Suzuki, considering how it's gone so far, with Takazuki getting absolutely bullied, unless Base Suzuki gets a giga crazy next level amp, I'm assuming that fight is going to be a little bit, not like underwhelming, but it's not going to be the craziest fight out there. Meanwhile, this one, I mean, if what little, and I do mean little we got, of Gaku versus Nagumo is any indication, I'm excited for this. So let's see. They're currently battling underneath a bridge. Or on top of a bridge? I'm not actually sure. Looks like they're battling on top of a bridge. Nice establishing shot, though. Nice establishing shot. Alright. Clash. So Nagumo is using the multi-tool, very specifically the scythe mode. Interesting. Against Oki's one-section staff. Or, I guess, I guess it wouldn't be called a one-section staff. I guess just like a typical battle staff. But interesting. They're still neutralizing. So I will give this automatically. Considering how long this fight has been implied to be going on narratively, like, I feel like this fight started, what? I think this fight started before any of the other fights started. We wrapped up, like, a couple other fights. Like, I'm pretty sure this started, like, either during or right before Sakamoto's transport. So this predates Lu versus the Nameless Cop guy. It predates Heisuke versus Kumanomi and the random El Matador guy. So we've had this fight set up for a minute now, and obviously, while how much time in universe has passed, I think is like nebulous and vague at best. Like, I literally don't even have a time frame that I could place this around. They've been fighting for a minute, which does show that Oki is definitely, like, he's worthy to be leader of the order, right? Because that was one of the biggest things that Oki was questionable for, considering, you know, he just wasn't there for a majority of the series, but supposedly he comes back and he's the leader of the order, when Nagumo was already stated by Uzuki to be the second best fighter the order had to offer. Presumably Uzuki did know about Oki at that point. So a lot of people, myself included, were assuming that Nagumo was kind of just going to fry Oki, but seemingly enough, maybe Oki didn't even exist at the time of that panel, in terms of, like, Suzuki Sensei's head, because he has been going relative with Nagumo for an extensive period of time, and presumably considering Nagumo is seemingly effectively using the multi-tool and switching between 7 forms, Oki's not only been able to keep up with Nagumo physically, but also keep up with his schmix-ups. Because remember, one of the biggest things that cost Gaku the fight against Nagumo, or at least from what we saw, once again, the back end of that fight where Gaku goes into the killing speed run was off-screen. We never got to see that fight. I do hope when the anime eventually gets to the museum arc, I hope they do extrapolate a bit more on that fight. I'm not sure if the Sakamoto anime does, like, any sort of extra filler or anything like that, but I would actually like that fight, to see the back end of that fight extrapolated on. But a big thing that was frying Gaku is very specifically his inability to properly deal with Nagumo's mix-ups. But it seems like Oki, being the leader of the order and presumably knowing Nagumo longer, and possibly even training him with the past, does know Nagumo better enough that while they are still trading, they're trading at all. Second best fighter in the order after presumably Takamura himself at the time that statement was made, and Oki's able to keep up relatively fine. And notably, he is fighting, like, I would say, technically, he's kind of even doing better. Kind of in the same way that when you look at the end of Madara versus Hashirama, where, like, obviously Hashirama did end up winning that fight, but you can definitely argue Madara was actually performing better, because Madara doesn't have a healing factor like Hashirama does. But Hashirama was still clearly battle damage at the end of the fight, meaning he was running low on chakra. Same case for this here, right? As far as we know, Oki doesn't have mix-ups. He doesn't have fake-outs. He doesn't have, like, tricks and illusions built into his fighting style. He's fighting Nagumo straightforward. He's been able to get hits off. He's been able to go relative with him. He's been able to outdo some of his tricks, at least to be at this point. So ultimately, a lot of Oki upscale, which I do think is needed. I'm glad at least one of our major antagonists is being taken seriously. But let's see. Alright, so they clash. I'll admit, this one looks kind of weird. Like, I feel like this panel doesn't smoothly correlate into this panel. If anything, call me crazy, I feel like you should flip this, or, like, there should be some lines implying that Nagumo moved back, because, like, the thing is, he's swinging with a scythe, right? And notably, he's swinging left to right. So if anything, Oki should go to the right, but it looks like Oki maybe sent back or something. Like, I don't know. These in a rare case, and notably, I say rare because he's a fantastic action artist. In a rare case, these panels don't flow together at all. Like, that's just on a first sight thing. This does not logically lead into this, which doesn't really logically lead into, well, this logically leads into this because Nagumo's far enough away to do that, but still, it is, this whole interaction to this interaction does seem strange. Let's see, Nagumo is pulling out a chain? I don't know. Oh, okay. All right. Speaking of tricks, he interesting. So that's actually, once again, a good way to show that Nagumo is, then again, though, oh, no, that throw is meant to be this throw. We don't actually see, he preps the throw, and then he off-screen throws it to Oki. But this technically is a Nagumo speed feat. He was able to wrap Oki up in chains before Oki could really do anything about it, other than go, because he wasn't ready for it. And it's clear that Nagumo is taking pure advantage of this. It's like, well, BFR, buddy. And then throws it into the back of the truck. Let's see. But, like, honestly, with how superhumanly powerful Sakamoto's characters have been, I wouldn't be shocked if Oki just grabs the truck and is like, kind of heavy. And just throws that at Nagumo. Let's see. Oh, bye-bye. But, like, you know what? Now that I was about to say, well, bye-bye for what? Don't you want to get rid of Oki? Like, what are you bum rushing for? But he did really just see Rion's existing biological niece running around, or at least what he would presume is his niece, or at least a younger sibling or something like that. I'm not sure if he even knew about Akira. For some reason, I don't have it in my head that Sakamoto ever told him. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. But essentially, first time seeing Akira on the big screen, first time probably assuming that's Rion, and is probably very, very desperate to spin back in order to make sure that she's okay, and if not she's okay, that possibly her friend could be back, or his friend could be back. So he's desperate to get we're not desperate, but he's willing to get the battle over with pretty quickly in an anticlimactic way, by just dragging Oki away by a truck. But let's see. Bye-bye! Oh, but once again, see, that's interesting. Even though Nagumo was able to enchain him relatively quickly, it's clear that Oki was able to use his body still well. So, like, This is, he even grabs Nagumo with his left arm. The left arm that was holding seemingly the back end of the spear. And his left hand. Okay, so maybe that's the thing. I think I see, no, because it tightens around both of his arms. So he is able to basically brute force or at least slip out of the chains in order to break them, in order to break free of... Wait a second. He grabs Nagumo. The chain... I'll admit, I don't get this as much. I guess maybe because Nagumo's extra weight slowed them down, but like, when you look at this, shouldn't the line be more taut? Because the line is basically taut here. I guess maybe, okay, it's probably like the railing buffering them, like it held them back for a little bit, and then it snapped, and the snap pulls it forward. But interesting, Oki was able to physically grab Nagumo before Nagumo could react, and put him in the situation when Nagumo clearly doesn't want to be there. And... I'm trying to figure something out. Is it possible? No. Like, I was kind of genuinely wondering if Oki is meant to also be like the second best fighter in the world. Like, does he? Like, I guess he kind of has. Like, I was just thinking he may just have to slam like every other order member we've seen. Like, just thinking about that Nagumo statement, how insane that is. That Oki's keeping up with Nagumo as they're fighting on the back of a screeching truck while Oki is still chained down. That's crazy. That's crazy levels of upscale right here. Or not necessarily upscale. I guess it's just like affirmation skill, because Oki never really had like a real fight that he wasn't ganking or running away from. But yeah, you can really see him here. He's going blow for blow with Nagumo, who couldn't react to the grab and is now put in this like unskippable. He's essentially put in this unskippable quick time event. And he's holding his own, but still the fact that Oki's holding his own at all while especially chained down, being dragged extensively, very impressive. And notably, he's holding on to Nagumo the entire time. He's combating Nagumo, who is still... Okay, Nagumo himself is also only using one hand, but still, he's actually going kind of bad for bad with Oki. My apologies, because I'm not familiar with your game. Let's see. Yeah, look at how locked in both of them are. So, yeah, these two are dead equals. If not Oki having a slight advantage in skill and technical prowess, because he's able to keep up and read Nagumo at all. Most characters in the verse wouldn't be able to do this to Nagumo, because of how tricky he fights, but Oki's able to work around the trickiness of Nagumo, and not only work around the trickiness of it, but very specifically hard counter it. Or not hard counter it, but counter it enough that he's able to do damage to Nagumo. Let's see. Right turn. Okay. Turns the corner. Oh, are they gonna crash? Oh. Well, lately speaking, they didn't. I guess kind of sort of they didn't, but still doesn't look the best. Because you can see here, as the truck goes around on a sharp right turn, they like screech to a halt, but Oki is still chained up. Let's see. Darn! What? What? Like, hold on. Maybe I'm seeing nothing but none. Somebody's just, what? So the guy goes right turn. He turns right. They scree to see what, maybe this is meant to be a halt, and then they crash. Like what? I guess they get carried by the momentum of the car sharply turning, and then get blown through the gates and break free. Otherwise, that's a lot of force. I thought like maybe they let no. They did seem to be thrown by the truck all the way out to the boat, and boom. Yeah, Oki. You're dealing with a serious aura from here. Look at this. Look at the pose. Who is he feeling like? I was about to say Satoru Gojo. Peter Parker, is that you? What is it? What is this pose? Hold on. My back is itching, ya boy. I'm back. Back, please. I know y'all like, Pencil, are you really using the sword of worthiness to scratch your back? Yes. If I could find this, if I could reach the spot with the sword of worthiness, please. My back itches. Please back. But, okay. Clearly still relative. Nagumo, if anything, like, no, he's on the back foot. I'd say they're even. They're trading right now. But still, very impressive for Oki to trade with top 2 fighter in the order, Nagumo. So, they basically share the top spot. Let's see. Good afternoon. Beg pardon. Say when. I think there's a word missing there. I mean, good afternoon makes sense. I think it should be beg your pardon, but there may have not been enough space in the text bubble. And it is actually interesting that Nagumo is going out of his way to serve somebody. I mean, like, we know, I think in his spinoff, his confirmed he owns a toy store, but, like, to see him actually pouring a drink is actually kind of crazy. Let's see. it is an interesting time to finally start characterizing Oki, right? Because he's been a part of the narrative, like I mentioned. You know, he's been the order of the order, Lord. He's been the leader of the order for a minute and a half now. In fact, I don't think it's ever implied that he wasn't. Like, presumably, this guy's been leader of the order all the way back in the days when Sakamoto was still in the order. He's hearing that many days ago, it wasn't that long. Like, Sakamoto was in the order until, what? A year before Hano was born, I'm pretty sure. So, like, still, but that being the case, it's interesting to get some characterization for him like this. Simply seeing that ultimately, even in spite of his, you know, heavy belief of assassin supremacy and they're better and they're greater and why should they fall in line and take care of or protect or any of these nonsense randoms, he's like, hey, when you pull for someone in polite company, you show them the label. Like that's such an oddly specific thing. It does, once again, though, I'll admit, it does fit with the previous characterization we've had of Oki being more like prim and proper, and things need to be done by the book, by a certain way, by a certain metric. But I didn't think it applied to all aspects of life. I thought it just applied to assassinhood. But no, for Oki, he's like, hey, show him the bottle, man. What are you doing? Where's your manners, Nagumo? Do you not know ball? And I guess Nagumo doesn't know ball. But that's interesting, though. When you pour for someone, like, show them the label. Like, if anything, typically, I feel like, I know, actually, even then, that usually happens after you pour. I've seen, like, at restaurants, someone will get poured for them, and then after the fact, like, the restaurateur, or whoever's pouring it, they will, like, flip the bottle and show off the label and explain, like, history and stuff like that behind a certain beverage. But in this case, I never heard of explaining it before you pour, or when you pour, showing the label. But maybe Oki literally just means, like, flipping the bottle in hand. So, like, the front logo would be facing the back and the guy can see it. But regardless, we see that Nagumo's going, what? Let's see. See, Mr. Oki, that's the problem with you, is what Shishiba said. What, the fact that he's too formal? I mean, so far, Nagumo, I'm not saying he's running your pockets, but, like, you ain't running his exactly. Oh, no, Nagumo. Let's see. Okay, throws the bottle up. Throwing the bottle straight at Oki's head is crazy. Bro said, think fast, and just threw the bottle. All right, let's see. Okay, slice it in half. Clean. Well, I was about to get on Oki's case, but it doesn't look like they drank from it yet. But still, that's I mean, I guess it is the most logical reaction. It would hurt if you got a sudden glass bottle thrown at your head. So Oki slashes it in half. Luckily enough, I guess the thing wasn't that full. Because Oki slashes it in half, doesn't spill any of it, and then drinks from the bottom. Okay, Oki! Who told you could get or... I mean, I guess no one needs to tell him he can get or, but look at him acquiring some or. Let's see. I still can't quite swallow it. Why would a guy like you collude with X, Mr. Oki? See, Nagumo's one of those characters where I genuinely can't tell when they're using Mr. if that's meant to be a sign of respect. Like, true, actual genuine respect. Because Nagumo's, like, dynamics with anyone outside of Sakamoto and Rion are still, like, very, very vague on who he respects, who he doesn't, who he sees as a true friend, who he doesn't, who he sees as a true ally, who he doesn't. So, like, when he says Mr. Oki, is that part of him consistently mocking and messing with Oki? In the same way that he said, you know, man, you're so stuck up is what Shishiba said, and then throwing a bottle at him? Or is that, like, genuine, Mr. Oki, you deserve a Mr. before your name, because you're actually built like that. I don't actually know. But seemingly enough, Oki's still able to keep up, though Nagumo has gone for a more basic, if dual-wielding style. What's it? Why would a guy like you collude with X, Mr. Oki? What's it to you? If I tell you, will you come back? I mean, like, I doubt it. but that is interesting, right? I give credit to Nagumo, and maybe, once again, this could be the idea of Nagumo trying to play mind games with Oki, essentially being like, let me get in his head, let me talk to him about different things, because that way, hopefully, if I'm talking to him still, he can't necessarily focus on the fight. But Oki is more than capable of focusing on the fight, and actually holding conversation, which is unironically still more Oki upscale, because Nagumo, once again, he usually wins or overpowers through deception, manipulation, talking at the right times, but Oki, it's just not working. It's not like you could tell me that Oki trained Nagumo. I'd low-key believe you. They're low-key going relative. Like, this is giving me... It's a bit more even, though, I'd say overall. Shishiba definitely had the advantage in Yotomoto versus Shishiba. But it's giving me those Yotomoto versus Shishiba vibes, where the two characters are extremely relative and doing just enough damage to each other, with one character seemingly having a slight edge because they aren't going out in a way that you'd expect them to go out. Though, obviously, I say this, the actual situation is flipped, because Shishiba and Shishiba versus Yotsumura definitely has the upper hand for a majority of it, but then... Here, it seems like Nagumo is kind of kind of getting lower-handed, bro. Like, it looks like Oki's kind of has his number. But let's see. If I tell you, will you come back? Not a chance. But you know what? I respect Nagumo's honesty there, because I believe that. I believe there's nothing, like, unless Oki were to go like, we have Rion in our back pocket, I promise, bro. Which, obviously, they don't. There's, like, of course, there's no way on this good green earth that Nagumo would go back. He just fundamentally disagrees with the New Order, I almost call him Takazuki again. Uzuki. He disagrees with everything that they stand for and everything that they do. So, of course, he's like, Gangaruni, there's no way on this good green earth that ever even bother go back with y'all. Let's see. Not a chance. Right. The way I see... Wait. Did they... Why'd they... They were in the middle of... They were immediately going bad for bad. Why'd they stop? Let's see. The way I see it, Nagumo, I don't want us to lose talented assassins. Me too, Nagumo. Huh? Alright, let's see. Take Osaragi, for example. Even with those delicate arms, she wields that enormous circular saw like a feather. Well, I guess we never necessarily seen Osaragi without her dress, because I always wonder if, like, Osaragi's, like, just super duper lean, dense muscle type. Because, like, another thing about it, in Sakamoto days, outside of, like, Sakamoto himself with the thickness, there are very few, like, real built muscular characters. Like, Boiled comes to mind. I think technically, I want to wiggle my toes and say that Hyo technically comes to mind in terms of, like, those big beefy characters. But Osaragi kind of fits in the general theme of Sakamoto days, where you can just be straight lean and still have superhuman levels of power. But interesting, the whole motivation of okay, they doesn't want to lose talented assassins. But like, buddy, what about the future of your talent? Considering everything in the world is just chaos now. What do you mean? Let's see. Shishiba 2. Imagine the years of relentless training he invested to master that hammer. There's something beautiful about killing or elevating it to such a sublime level. But like, let's see, I don't know, maybe I'm still confused, but Brody, Potato Chip, you've lost assassins of that caliber by, you know, fighting against them and going against them, for one. And for two, Brody, I haven't seen you foster a single next generation assassin. We've seen some. We saw Kipe and Shina Ina. Like, we saw them, but it wasn't you who picked them up. It was Torz and Gozu who picked them up. So like, what do you mean that your whole motivation is that you don't want to get rid of assassins when you've outcasted some of the best assassins we've seen so far, like, literally in the entire verse? And if not them, you aren't really directly engaging with the future assassin talent. I don't know, but I still don't know why suddenly Oki's crossed his arms here. Like, why are they not fighting anymore? Let's see. Dude's eyes are freaky. And where did it get us? Wait, hold on. And where did it get us? Assassins have been dwindling in modern society. And it's thanks to the JA's old approach. With each passing year, the art I love is being lost. I will admit, once again, good characterization for Oki. But I do find it so hilarious that, like, his idea of art, a craft, something beautiful to bear witness to is, yeah, just straight assassins. But at the same time, Oki, I don't know. I feel like, unironically, by putting the restrictions on, or not necessarily putting restrictions, right? Restrictions is the wrong word there. By setting up Japan in the way that it is now, you are almost cutting any potential off for any future artists, quote unquote, right at the root. There's no stable space for them to grow and develop or evolve at all. Like, there's no place for them to do that. Because now what? They're gonna join the New Order and then get viciously diffed and or used and or fodderized? Like, I don't know, man. I don't really see the vision here. Let's see. With each passing year, the art I love is being lost. That too! Me too, Nagumo. So, yo, they legit stop fighting because Nagumo's like, Brody, what on earth? That's weird. I was like, what on earth are you spitting, bro? Let's see. Hey, but wasn't X killing assassins? Like, really? Did I seriously have hiccups right now? Brody, please. Brody, please don't give me hiccups right now. Body, please. Don't do this to me. Don't do this to me. I need to speak, body. Let's see. But wasn't X killing assassins? Me too. I have hiccups. Okay, let's see. But wasn't X killing assassins? Me too, Nagumo. Me too. Ellipses. What's wrong with colluding with What's wrong with colluding with a former enemy if he causes chaos for the general public and creates more jobs? But like that doesn't. It's still okay. Cause I'll be honest, Oki explained his whole motivation, or like, not necessarily the passion for the art of execution, right? He never really explained that. That's not really been a part of the character, as far as I remember. Oki hasn't had that much screen time, but in the limited screen time he's had, I don't remember that part of the character. But I do remember this part. The idea that the society that X created is better for the assassins, but like, in multiple ways it's not. And the idea of, the passion for the art of execution, Shishiba and Osaragi wouldn't have existed in the world without the JAA. Quite literally. Shishiba, we know, in fact, literally, Shishiba only exists because of Yotsumura, specifically sparing him and recruiting him to the JAA. So Shishiba would not exist with his hammer time. And Osaragi would not exist without Shishiba, who was in her area on an order type mission too. From the old JAA. So both of these, like, assassin prodigies using references for his point of why he sided with X don't make sense within the context of the characters that he should know. Like, there's no reason, like, maybe he doesn't know about Shishiba's apprenticeship. Because now I think about it, I believe I made a mistake earlier. I think I said, he's always been leader of the order. I think no, he wasn't always leader of the order. I believe that was Yotsumura and poor Kidaka, man. Did anyone get his body? After he was shocked and set up that truck, did anyone get his body? But regardless, I believe Kidaka and Yotsumura were actually leaders of the order at the time. So Oki wasn't always leader of the order. I don't think that was ever the case. I think he became leader of the order sometime after the events of the Sakamoto flashback. So if that's the case, he should at least have loose context for both Shishiba and Osaragi, the two examples he's pulling his origins, and how ultimately, without the JA, they wouldn't have existed. Even, when we think about it, technically, without the old JAA, supposedly the thing that's slaughtering the modern assassin and getting weaker year over year, X and all of his comrades wouldn't have existed either. Remember, Uzuki only exists thanks to the pressure that was put on society put on Asaki and the rest of the world by the JAA. Obviously, all the Alkamarkas wouldn't exist without the JAA. Shin, admittedly he was going to become an assassin at first, but another extremely powerful character would not exist without the JAA. Like, I don't know, like, genuinely, I don't want to just say, what is bro yapping about, but truly, honestly, what is bro yapping about? Because that doesn't make sense. And then the second half doesn't make sense either. If general chaos is happening in the public, and people are specifically given the right and freedom to just somebody down themselves, right? Obviously, they have their 3 free shots that have all been neutralized, but like clearly, just anyone can get rid of anyone whenever they feel like it, with no real repercussions or consequences right now. Why would anyone ever hire an assassin? If it becomes a cultural norm, just slaughter the people you don't like a 24/7, 7 days a week purge type beat. Like, why would anyone ever, like, why would one hire an assassin? There's no point to. This is the same issue I had with him when he last said something like this. Like, it doesn't make sense. Who's hiring you? Who's hiring? Like, notably, I don't know how, because obviously the Sakamotodays world isn't, like, real or fully fleshed out, so we don't know, like, what the economy is like, but, like, how would the destabilization of Japan lead to a better economy where people could afford to pay assassins? I don't know. Like, so far, it seems like people are just living the regular life. We literally do see the truck guy from the start of the chapter just driving about, doing his job like he's got to do it. So, like, there are clearly some people who just don't care about the current state of events. But, specifically, I'm assuming a good chunk of people probably don't want to go to work because they're afraid they're going to get boomed. And they do want to go to work, they're just hurt. Like, I think the overall paranoia would actually be really, really bad for the economy and job creation for assassins in particular. Like, neither of Oki's arguments for his character makes sense within the context of the world that Sakamotodays specifically established. That's not good. Like, as much as I want to give credit to Oki, and I do have to give credit to Oki, once again, for genuinely keeping up with Nagumo to some certain degrees and actually being able to go man for a band with him, grab onto him, battle him while chained down, and be put in this scenario, and even critique him effectively. His logic as a character still doesn't really work. Like, that's the only issue. Like, and it's kind of, I'm not gonna say it's an issue that's plagued Oki since his introduction to the narrative, because notably, like, his introduction is mostly fine. It is very limited. But the idea of his motivations, Oki's motivations as a character, are not necessarily non-existent. They don't, it's like Oki's reading, or it's like Oki is a part of a different narrative than the narrative we're actively seeing. And, like, sometimes that's fine if a character is meant to be written as delusional. But for Oki, even if he is obviously an antagonist, he's not meant to be literally insane. So I genuinely I cannot fathom what bro is yapping about. Well, I'm sure, I don't get it. And even yeah, okay, so maybe Suzuki Sensei even knows that, like, Brody's yapping straight nonsense, because he's having Nagumo ask, or even say, I'm struggling to understand. It's so am I, Nagumo, so am I. Let's say, I'm so sorry. These are not, I would not be hiccuping if I had any, if I had any other brain, see? Hold on. Oh! Hiccups. I'm so sorry about these hiccups. They are literally just rocking you, boy, but I want to keep recording. But I think maybe Suzuki Sensei. This is once again the question of, like, does Suzuki Sensei actually know what he's writing? But I don't want to say that, because Suzuki Sensei is a professional writer. So, like, I don't want to say that he's accidentally making Oki incredibly illogical with the narrative that he set up. But it wouldn't be the first time that Suzuki Sensei set up a narrative in a certain way and then just undermined it. But having Nagumo say, I'm struggling to understand. And, like, obviously the smile could be a bit playful. Like, maybe he does get what Oki's saying, but he doesn't, like, agree with it, or he's trying to mess with him still. But I think this may just be a case of, I'm gonna give, in this case, I'll give Suzuki Sensei the benefit of the doubt, in that, but the thing, it doesn't line up. I'm gonna give Suzuki Sensei the benefit of the doubt, and that it is just something from Oki's specific perspective. So even if it doesn't match up from what the narrative has shown us, from Oki's perspective within the narrative, from, like, his more, I guess, in-universe bird's eye view, it somehow makes sense to him, because right now, his two motivations within the narrative that he set up don't make sense to me, don't make sense to Nagumo, and it seems like Oki's like, he doesn't even care if it makes sense at all. Like, maybe bro just wanted an excuse. I would have, and honestly, you can definitely argue that the whole idea of, yeah, in fact, I would say that. You can definitely argue that all of this posturizing, or not postulate, I think it is, what's the word I'm looking for? It starts with a P. Postulating, all these reasonings, all this is just nonsense, right? And Oki truly is just crazy, because Nagumo even comments on that. Dude's eyes are freaky. Like he, and this is Nagumo we're talking about. Oki may just be insane. He may just genuinely be a madman, more than, like, obviously the average Sakamotodays madman who are all assassins. Oki may just genuinely be nuts, and it's like, that's fine. It doesn't matter if my ideas don't make sense to you; they make sense to me. And even if none of what I say makes even an iota of sense, I'm gonna keep it pushing. That's it. That's fine. Your job as an assassin isn't to overthink things. You just need to commit to the pure and transparent intent to kill. But, like, I guess in a way that is true. That is true. A big thing about assassins, at least from what we've seen, that does technically stick to what we've been seeing in the narrative so far, especially from the old JA perspective, which is funny because he's talking from a new JA perspective, is that you weren't really supposed to question what your orders are. You're supposed to just execute them. We say this is like a big focal point in Rion and Uzuki's backstory, which ended up leading to Rion's death. The idea that they didn't ask any questions, and you're not really supposed to. A big thing that Sakamoto didn't do was really ask questions. Like, he just did things based on the orders he was given, and that does seem to just be a consistent theme. So, and I guess that is accurate. That's the one thing Oki said so far that is accurate to the narrative as we've seen it so far. Let's see. You need to commit to the pure and transparent intent to kill. Oh! Wait! I mean, I guess he probably just upped it to max speed there, but that's crazy. He just stabbed the engine, and then the boat goes on to crash straight to the dock. Alright. Yo, I'll give credit. Old men in Sakamoto are always aura farming, dog. He's completely nonchalantly ignoring the gargantuan boat flying past him. Meanwhile, the dog is like, let's see. Boom. Well, 7-7. A casino? Poker, Jack Black. That is a true case of me reading from right to left for the wrong. I think I've never done it before. Jack Black. Why did I read this? Jack Black, blackjack, and roulette. All right, casino, and they crashed through the front. Suzuki Sensei. I was saving it. I was literally gonna glaze your art in this chapter. Brody, what are these? Brody, what are they? What like dog? Don't play me, Suzuki Sensei. What are these, bro? What are they? What are they doing here, bro? What is this? Let's see. A casino. Oh wow, this is a really short chapter. 50 pages. All right. Since we're here, why not have a little fun? Okay. You know what? I'm gonna say the chapter's worthy. I'm gonna say the chapter's worthy. Let me explain why. It isn't just because we're actually getting Nagumo versus Oki, which is definitely something like, not gonna lie, I was low-key expecting. Oh man, it's gonna suck. I was planning to record. I hope these things go away in between recording, but I'm gonna have. It's not just we're getting Nagumo versus Oki, which I really didn't think was going to happen. I truly thought this fight was gonna get off screen, especially with the whole like Rion fighting Uzukimura thing. Like, I thought Nagumo kind of had to be involved in the final fight, which, who knows, maybe it's hard to tell, but maybe we did go a little bit back in time here. But it feels like everything's happening congruently right now, or like consecutively, or concurrently. There's the word. Concurrently. So maybe Nagumo just isn't even gonna have any interactions with Uzuki, which would be interesting. But this battle is still going on, and notably, it is this is the hype moments in Aura, right? As much as people have always said, Sakamoto is just hype moments in Aura. This is hype moments in Aura done well, done right. The art in this chapter, except for the very last page, even if it's a bit short, is a bit short of a chapter, except for these random non-colored in like hollow shapes. The art in this chapter is immaculate. The choreography in this chapter is immaculate. From the opening panel, seeing their two faces, how they both represent both sides, that's really, really cool. Them fighting atop the bridge, clashing evenly, showing that ultimately Oki is a relevant threat to Nagumo, and they have damage on each other, showing they are truly relative in almost every single way. Once again, fits into the whole dynamic as the true, like, pseudo leaders that aren't really the leaders of their respective group, because obviously that's Sakamoto and Uzuki. Seeing Nagumo manage to do things but have them consistently fail against Oki, I think is also a really interesting dynamic to set up, considering how Nagumo's been established to fight and how effective his fighting style has been before. Sort of building on the giving unspoken history to the dynamic that we just never got, right? With Nagumo being able to entrap Oki in chains with the multi-tool, latch him onto a truck, send him off, only for Oki to grab Nagumo and drag him along. To see Oki be able to combat Nagumo band for band as he's being dragged by the truck. The two going evenly as the truck hits a hard turn, and then the chain swings them both out off the deck, or not off the deck, off the port, over into a boat that they land through the roof. Nagumo hits this fire behind pose. Fantastic artwork. And then they very specifically, I love this aspect of their fight in particular. And it's been consistent for each part of the fight that they've had from when it initially started to now, where they will genuinely interact. It's very unironically, considering the title of the manga, it's very Sakamoto-esque, where they are interacting with the patrons and the people that they are fighting alongside or in the general vicinity of. We see, obviously, Nagumo links him to the truck. We see Nagumo gets thrown into the boat, lands in the boat, in the middle of them eating, then pours the guy a drink. Of course, Sakamoto's people aren't even, like, conscious brain-wise, but still it doesn't matter. We see Nagumo happily pours the guy a drink. We see Oki critique Nagumo's drink and pouring etiquette. We see Nagumo attempt to throw the drink at Oki and basically through his dome, but Oki slashes it in half and takes a sip, showing how ultimately, while he is definitely struggling in this battle, it's not to the point where he can't still have some levity and engagement in himself. And we see them once again go relative. And even this whole conversation, even if I think Oki is spitting absolute straight nonsense, it does feed into the idea that's kind of been hinted at with Oki. He's just insane. He's just nuts. Even beyond the average nuts assassin in verse, which does work. And them moving on to casino is going to be interesting, considering they brought a whole boat in there, and all the people that were on the boat, I guess, just got abandoned or left behind, whatever. Let's talk about days. If you're a background character, you're irrelevant. But I'm very interested to see how the battle continues. Do I think the battle's going to continue next chapter? I think it's 50-50 shot. I think this is probably like one of the battles that I don't. Well, I guess it depends on who you think is more important, Shin or Nagumo. I almost want to say for the context of the final villain, I feel like it has to be Nagumo. But, like, there's a 50-50 shot we could away next chapter. again. But still, for a battle, or for a chapter between Nagumo and... There we go. A battle between Nagumo and... my brain keeps saying Shishiba. It's just, the chapter is just called Shishiba Said. The battle between Nagumo and Oki, it's expanding, it's consistently showing off the relativity, and it's giving us new interesting locations. It's giving me the hype moments in order that I've been missing from Sakamoto days. So I will take it. But if you didn't always see this video, please leave hiccup. Just repeat the word twice. I don't know what it, like, I'm bad. Like, now I'm literally gonna have to go, like, drink water or something to see if I can get this to go away before the next recording. But that wasn't even far. I want to thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys... This mess me up a time. Well, thank you so much for watching. Remember to leave a like, share, comment, and subscribe. Make sure that little notification bell so you don't miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Also doing a happy picture below what you support me for as well as get a month, leaving exclusive videos, early content, and more. You'll also now become a member of the channel for as well as $3 a month to get the same perks and more. So those perks include the live reactions, so the series I happen to review, ad variations of all my videos, early ad access to all my videos, your name listed at the end of literally every single video, and if you're a $3 member or $3 patron or higher, you get your name listed and read aloud at the end of every single video. So with that, on top of that, you get early access to all videos for the second channel that got the reaction, link to the description down below. On top of that, I do have my Ko-Fi link down below where you can drop 5 views for a short video, 20 views long video, or any views at all. Any support is always greatly appreciated. Now, I want to, oh my word, I want to thank you so much for watching. Once again, I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is Zach with the Pencil, writing off. I'd like to thank you to our sketch tier members: Eternal Flame, Redwolf 4765, Astro, Glacier XZ, Zera, J2MA, Gyomi, Buddha Uda, Yuki Ally, Grim, Ollie, The Boy, Corey Watson, Damon Brown, Magic, CCC, Dino, Hector Gonzalez, Tim Thomas, Kilving, Julian Perez, RXN, Nevis97, Logan Guzman, Dead Meme, Keon Stewart, Donovan McIntosh, Hamza Idrisi, BNA DNA, Edwin Idbignoba, Straw, Athenzi Shear, Antavius Mitchell, Azo2404, Superflame Zero, Weary Exile, Window Life, Alex Kenny, Victor Jacobs, Todd, The Practical One, Landon Clapwick, Heath Nelson, CA, Funny Dude, Jagoda, Plant Crone, Striker Man, Brandon Payne, Black Sage, Multi-Batman Superman, Ramondo Furin, Zalims, Enzo, Union I, Metatron, Sheesh King, Joe Bean, Aswin Heriprasetya, Sleepin' John, JMB, KD, and the Young Family, Pastel Pandora. Then, ladies, thank you to Artline Art Tier patrons: A+A, Kevin Encarnacion, Sean, Midnight Lord 21, Karina Hernandez, and Lil Kodo. Then, ladies, thank you to our Inc. Tier members: King RTX and Shrimpo the 4th Shrimp 06, along with Zom. And then, ladies, thank you to our Digital Art Tier members: J Warrior, AZ Void, and Valden Nissen. Then, ladies, final thick juicy thank you to our Colored Art Tier patrons: Walking Munoz and Joaquin Munoz.